Hello, this is Anna Imagination with the Healing Garden, and welcome to Subconscious Dialogues. I am going to talk for a moment on boredom. It's one of my favorite emotions. Boredom usually comes in with a feeling like you are antsy or uncomfortable, and you start to shift and you got to move and you get frustrated. Boredom is an excess of energy that you are not using. That's all it is. I love boredom because when I did research on emotions and I really did my internalizing, what is this emotion? How does it work? What thoughts? I should show you that. That's really awesome how I do that. And it's what I actually teach in Triadic Healing. So I'll just show you here in a minute. But I basically reverse engineered the emotion. And when I did that, um, I located it with basically an excess of energy. And that usually stems from frustration. So you have frustration, and then that evolves, that there's that spectrum again. So you have frustration, and then the frustration evolves into a stronger emotion. And that emotion is energy put out. It's basically you want to do something, you want to do X, but you can't. And this is where it can kind of split off and become anxiety, because you're not taking control. Now, if you take control, now you've siphoned off that energy and things go smooth. If you haven't siphoned off that energy and you're wanting to, but fear gets involved, now that's anxiety. So anxiety and boredom are actually very closely linked. At the end of the day, you're wanting X and you're being stopped from getting X. This leads to feelings of out of control. It leads to feelings of not being able to control your fate, your situation. You feel powerless. And the word power is really one that amuses the crap out of me, because when you hear power, for me, the very first thing that comes to mind is a man in a business suit, a millionaire just sitting there, his hand in his pocket, like, yes, that's power. And what that actually is authority. Power is actually just energy. Literally, like I cannot explain this to be more literal than physics, because this is true. Power is energy, and it's no different in psychology. When we are talking about having psychological power, it's the energy to do something. And either you have the energy to change your circumstance, or you don't have the energy to change your circumstance, or you think you don't have the energy to change your circumstance. And it all comes back to power. Now, authority is the state of being. It is the claiming the authority. It is the standing there making the claim, like declaring it. That's the authority. And authority is one of those things we all use, especially in society, but we don't define it. And authority really keeps coming back to basically that position of choice. Oh, I love that position of choice. You are in a position of choice. Now, the mindset is that you aren't in a position of choice. When you actually are in a position of choice, you're always in a position of choice. And that is the limiting belief that your trauma has placed inside of you, is you think you don't have the power of choice, when in fact you do, very much so. It's the illusion, it's the perspective, it's the lies of your abusers when they stole your illusion from you, when they stole your truth from you. They left you with a delusion. God, that's good. I'm going to say that again. When they stole your truth from you, they left you with a delusion. I'm just going to sit here for a minute and think about that. Yeah. And that's abuse. It is literally a truth theft. And what you're left with is this delusion that you're powerless, that you don't have the energy, that you can't control the change, that you can't move or shift. That's what they take from you. And you just spend so much time focusing and complaining about who done you wrong, that you're ignoring and missing the point that they never took it from you to begin with. They only made you think they did. But everyone's so busy complaining about the actual abuse that you're ignoring the one blaring truth, which is they never took it away from you to begin with. They only made you think they did. They're magicians. They just conducted the world's most classic sleight of hand, and you fell for it. I fell for it. We all fall for it, because no one's calling it for what it is. And when you start changing the way you name it, you change it. Well, I like that one too. I'm going to patent that. That's copyrighted. When you change the way you name it, you change it. That's my motto. I'm going to keep those words. They're mine. That's going to become my motto. When you change the way you name it, you change it. Oh God, that's so good. I love that. I love my words. So yeah, boredom. When you get to that point where, and you get to this point where you do have so much control. And it's so funny how this is all stemming out of boredom. You don't think it is, but it's so related. So you're sitting there and you're bored and you're antsy and you've got all this built up energy. And it's because your identity is calling you to do something and you're not doing it. You're choosing to not do it. Whenever you feel bored, your identity is screaming, I want to dream, I want to go, I want to travel, I want to live, I want to be. And the conscious awareness is going, nope, subconscious mind says we got to stay put. So we're going to stay put. And identity doesn't like that. She's going to start poking you with her desires and she's going to start like probing you, going, get over here. So she gives you an emotion to say, let's go. And you're just going to go, nope, subconscious mind says no. And I take my orders from subconscious mind because I am oblivious. And that's conscious awareness. Yeah. So when you feel bored, that is actually a really great time to get out your bucket list and start writing all of your dreams. And then you start manifesting and you go, okay, this is what I want. I'm going to do it in a year. Now, and you ask intuition, what is it you feel so you know what you can get up and go do? It's extraordinary. So I'm now going to talk about how I reverse engineer my emotions, because this is the fun part. I love doing this. We all get the feeling. The feeling arrives in us and we have this moment of, this does not make me feel good, and most of us throw it away. No. We're going to take that gorgeous emotion and we're going to reverse engineer this beautiful thing. So I'm going to explain to you what this gorgeous little thing is. This emotion is a message that comes from the subconscious mind that tells you this is what's going on upstairs. But if you don't speak the language, it's not going to mean anything to you. So in order to reverse engineer an emotion, what you need to do is, basically every emotion is produced off of a single thought or a belief, every one of them. And when that happens, you have the ability to basically go inward into the emotion and the words should come to you. It depends on how closed off you are from your communication centers, which is why you need to get your communication up and running. So you focus on your communication, you get your communication going, and you really spend a lot of time just boosting that communication. You really want to get that up and running. So when you get your communication going, then it basically opens the channel. Communication is the road. Communication is always the road. It opens the channel between your emotion and your subconscious mind or your identity. There's 4 locations that emotions come from: your fear system, your subconscious mind's cognitive core, your identity, and your guilt system, which is actually related to the fear system. So sometimes I like to say things instead like your intuition, which also is part of your identity. So you only have these 4 places that emotion comes from. And once you realize which emotions come from where and what they mean, you know who is talking to you. Now, the way you handle, are we all listening? Because this is really, really important. The way we handle our emotions from the fear center is X. And they have to be handled a very specific way. The emotions we handle from our guilt system have to be handled B. X and B. The emotions from our cognitive core must be handled with Y. And the emotions from our identity and intuition have to be handled with A. So we have X, Y, B, A. And here is really, really the point of all of this. Once you know which emotions are coming from where, and you know how each one of the 4 circuits need to be handled, when you get an emotion, it works like this. Oh, that's this emotion. It's coming from over here. I have to fear, soothe, name, validate, empathize. Done. It goes away. Oh, I'm getting another emotion over here that's coming from the cognitive core. I need to process the limiting belief or the correct belief so that the perspective shift can get aligned and align itself with the belief system and the ethics and the identity. Done. Oh, that's coming from identity. Okay, we need to talk big, we need to dream, we need to do, and we need to take action. So, this is how these little areas all work. And all emotions stem from only these four parts. Guilt doesn't even belong in your system. That is somebody else's should being embedded. That is perspective abuse. Every time you get the word guilt in there, guilt and fear are cousins. Fear is fear from you, guilt is you should be afraid of this. Someone else telling you what you should and should be afraid of. So fear is your subconscious mind saying, oh, you should be afraid of this. But guilt is a third party parent, a third party person saying, you should be afraid of this. Now, your subconscious mind actually isn't afraid of it, which is why it doesn't process it into fear, it processes it into guilt. See? So basically the subconscious mind is sitting here and it's handed an event. It sees the perspective and immediately regurgitates fear. Fear is immediately thrown out there and all the emotions go over to fear. Oh, we need to motivate you to avoid the fear to keep you safe. But then somebody comes along to your subconscious mind and they tap on the subconscious mind and they say, excuse me, you need to have this. You should be doing this. And you throw that in there. It doesn't even belong in the system. It does not belong in the system. So it's not going to be processed the same way because it's not part of the system. So the subconscious mind, instead of putting it through the cognitive core because it doesn't belong in the system, it actually takes it and throws it over to the side and it becomes guilt. It actually is handed over to fear, like, here, fear, you take care of this. And then Jerry, my fear system, Jerry gets it and he goes, what am I going to do with this? And he tosses it aside because it's not part of his system either. It's a foreign object. Guilt is a foreign object. It doesn't belong in your system. So why are you giving it the time of day? The conscious mind is going to learn how to say, get the hell out of my kitchen. Your house is like 8 blocks down the road. You don't even belong here. We feel guilt for not feeling guilt. I'm going to just let you sit on that for a minute. I have magnets in my merchandise store if you want them for your fridge. We have guilt for not feeling guilt. Do you see this? Like, I also have coffee mugs. Coffee mugs are going to be awesome. I have guilt for feeling guilt. And we do. We do. We very much do. We have guilt for not feeling guilt. Oh, I'm not feeling guilty. I need to be feeling guilty or else my mom's going to really be mad at me. So here I go. I'm going to turn on the guilt. And that is the ludicrousness of guilt. So when you understand where all these emotions come from, that it's coming from these 4 locations in your system, now you know how to handle them. Oh, this is coming from the fear system. Oh, well, that's validate that thing, empathize with it, soothe it, reassure it, and now go celebrate love. Yay. And that's your fear. That is your formula. You want to resolve fear? There you go. I'll go through it again. Validate and name it, empathize with it, soothe it and reassure it, and then you go do something you love and celebrate that. That's fear. 100%, that's all you got to do. That literally is it. That's it. But a lot of people are getting emotions and they're throwing them away. So it's not getting soothed and reassured. It's not getting seen and identified and validated. It's not getting anything. It's getting thrown away. But when you pull in your fear and you go through the process, it goes away. And then you celebrate love because love and fear cannot exist at the same time. So if you focus on love, the love expands, it grows, it's beautiful. And the fear soothes and reassures even more because fear has one concept to it. If you were afraid and if there was really danger, then you wouldn't be knitting. I knit, and that's what I do when I love me and I'm happy. If things were really dangerous, like I said they were, says fear, then she wouldn't be cooking or playing with the pussycat. So when you start doing things you love, you're actually showing fear, look, everything's fine. I'm doing things that I do that I love. I'm not getting ready to prepare for battle. Because that would reaffirm to fear that it's time to go to war. And you don't want that message to go to fear because fear is stupid. Fear should not be there. The only reason why fear is there is because your defense system went down. Somebody didn't communicate. That is the only reason why fear is here, is because somebody did not communicate. Communication is the core of shutting down fear. What did I say? That the very first step is validating it, naming it, because communication is the very first thing that shuts down fear. And when you have your communication system up, fear can't come out because you're doing your job, which is keeping yourself safe by saying, don't do that to me. I'm using boundaries. And then you enforce your boundaries. And then look at that. You can take care of yourself. So now your trust in yourself increases. Now your confidence increases. Now you have positive, happy emotions coming out because you stepped up and you used your voice. Communication is the arch enemy of fear. Love is the arch enemy of fear. So when you have love and communication and they just make this beautiful thing happen together, fear doesn't exist. And when I turn around and I say things to you like, you know what you need? You need to validate that bad boy, soothe it, reassure it, and empathize with it. Now go do something with love. Communicate. So anytime you have fear poking its ugly head around, you failed to communicate. Like, take that down. It's going to be on my mug. I have fear because I failed to communicate. It's going to be more positive than that. I'm going to put a positive spin on it to inspire and motivate instead of like beat people down. I'll work on the wording. But that is it right there. That's fear. Anger is beautiful. I love anger. Anger is one of my favorite emotions. Anger is love. It is self-love. It is the defense system backup. It is the backup defense system. Of course, it's the backup defense system. You've got the defense system, and then you've got the backup defense system. And when that fails, you have fear. So basically, anger has two paths it can take. Just two. And there's a third one that's kind of a secret back door that other people have found sneaky ways around. So we're going to talk about these first two paths. The first one is when you have the anger emotion. It's just an emotion. Okay. It's the opposite of joy. Okay. Just because you feel joy doesn't mean you're going to run around screaming your head off out of joy. It means that you just feel the emotion. So you can feel anger and actually not do anything. You can feel anger and not be violent. You can communicate. And those are your two paths. Because it's the fail-safe, the first fail-safe of your defense system not working. You're supposed to communicate. When that fails, then the anger kicks on and you're supposed to communicate. But we don't. Instead, we get violent. The other back door, the secret path is shut down the anger, suppress it, throw it away, and run away. It avoids the anger. And you become terrified of anger. There's that fear again. Fear is now present because you failed to communicate. So now you have fear. And that probably took place when you were like 2 years old, 4 years old, 5 years old. You were a child when that first happened to you. And fear popped in. Now fear may have gone away. You may have gotten some comfort zone and then boom. And this is something I'm excited about. So this is how this goes. You have the fear come in. Well, you have the defense and the communication and the identity. Mommy scolds you for opening your mouth when you weren't supposed to. You talked out of line, and boom, fear comes in. And then you might receive some soothing, so it bounces back out, and then boom, fear comes back in, and then fear comes back in, and then fear comes back in, and now this starts to happen. So now you're all fear. There is no identity, no love. No defense system, no communication system. It's gone. Enter adulthood. This is where most of us start adulthood. 20 years old, a massive surplus of fear, absolutely no access to ourselves, our identity, our love, our emotions, our defense system. It's all gone. And you're supposed to go to college, go find the love of your life, go get a job, build a career, have children, become financially stable, while you're shouldering this massive amount of fear without any knowledge as to what to do with fear. You're supposed to validate it, empathize with it, soothe it, reassure it, shut it down, and then go do something you love. The cognitive core is the other location in your system. The cognitive core is complicated. It's not complicated. It's just, I have done like 20 videos on the cognitive core. It's basically, it's the processing center for turning a information into a perspective. It is literally the process of taking a belief and having it become part of the perspective. It is the process of, I'm going to say this right the first time. It is the process of a belief adjusting your perspective. That is what the cognitive core is. You getting a belief and the perspective being adjusted accordingly. And that produces emotions based off of your mental health, how well you listen and manage your emotions, how healthy you are, how much you accept or resist change. All of those different factors come into place when you are processing in your cognitive core your beliefs and adjusting your perspective. So I don't know how I'm going to do this. I have been trying to figure out how to do emotional education from the beginning. And it is such a vast, spidery thing that because there's understanding what emotions are, I'll figure it out. I will figure it out. I'll do an outline. Maybe I'll just publish a book. Because the book will allow me to just get right into it and break down each emotions. And then I can give you an index at the end that shows you all the emotions. That would probably be the easiest. And I'm trying to condense it on a podcast or condense it on a Facebook page. And it doesn't work that way. It does not work that way, not with emotions. So the best I can do are these emotional education classes where I sit down and I talk about it, but it's not organized. It's not condensed, which is fun, but it's a great adventure, but it does not. Yeah, I'm probably going to just go back to all of my podcasts and I'm going to write up this outline. I'm going to just copy, cut, paste the transcripts. And then I love the idea of having an index in the back of the book where you can just look up the emotion alphabetically. But I also see the alphabetical, like you look up fear and there's a description. This is what kind of an emotion it is and this is where it comes from. But I also see a grid where you've got 4 pieces and each emotion comes from each one of those 4. So I see a lot of diagrams and models, and I'm going to figure it out. It's just going to take me about 2 years to publish this book. So yeah, and I got to come up with a really catchy, spiffy name for it. Maybe 6 months to a year. No, 9 months. I can write this book in 9 months. I will write this book in 9 months. That's my goal. I have a new goal. In 9 months, I'm going to release my book. Yeah, that's fantastic because I have my ISBN numbers all ready to go. So I will go ahead and just publish this book in 9 months. Woohoo! And it will break down emotions, just emotions. Because I have certain parts of the garden where I'm looking at it going, that just needs to be free. Like that just needs to be accessible to the people, period. And that's one of them. Perspective thinking is the other, where I'm just going, okay, people really need this information. So I'm going to do that. Yeah. Yeah, I think that summarizes everything. This has been a phenomenal. I'm very happy with this video. I rate myself a 5. I'm very, very happy with this video. Made me very, very happy. Very, very happy. I accomplished a lot in it. So thank you very, very much. And I do have my sale going on, my gratitude sale. So everything is, my masterclasses are 98% off until the 14th of August. And it's an extraordinary deal. Like seriously, take a look at it. The link for that sale is down below. And then on the 14th of August, I go live. And that is going to include with the masterclasses, the integration workshop that I have called Journey into the Self. So link is below and absolutely look forward to seeing you. Thank you so much. And may the kindest of words always find you.